The San Francisco 49ers offseason has taken a noticeably different turn this year compared to previous seasons, as the team has managed to avoid any major contract drama so far. This shift is a breath of fresh air for the organization and its fans alike. Over the past months, the 49ers have made strategic moves to secure key players, early locking down Brock Purdy, George Kittle, and Fred Warner with contract extensions well before training camp is set to begin. This early focus on stability has been designed to keep distractions off the field and concentrate entirely on football when the team hits the practice fields in Santa Clara. However, just as it seemed like the front office had everything under control, wide receiver Jauan Jennings has now stepped forward with a bold demand. Either he receives a new contract before the season starts, or he wants to be traded. Jennings, who is entering the final year of his current deal and is set to earn $7.5 million this coming season, is making it clear that he's not interested in playing under the current terms. Sources close to the situation have indicated that Jennings is ready to push the 49ers front office for a better deal, or else he is prepared to seek opportunities elsewhere. This demand adds a new layer of intrigue to the 49ers offseason, especially with the veteran players scheduled to report for training camp on July 22nd, just around the corner. The rookie class, which is quite strong and promising, is due to report a day earlier at the SAP Performance Center in Santa Clara, marking the official start of the team's preparation for the upcoming season. What remains uncertain is whether Jennings will hold out if a new deal isn't reached before camp, or whether he will simply play under his existing contract while negotiations continue. The coming days will be critical to monitor this unfolding situation closely. Reflecting on the 49ers' approach to contracts over the last several years, it's clear the team has followed a philosophy of waiting until closer to deadlines to finalize deals. Under the leadership of John Lynch, Kyle Shanahan-Pirog, and Jed York, the franchise has often been cautious and strategic, sometimes to a fault, in how they handle player extensions. While this method may have worked in the past in recent seasons, it has resulted in some costly complications. Delaying contract talks until late has forced the organization to sometimes overpay players when the market resets or heats up, leading to financial strain. More importantly, dragging out contract talks in the training camp has had a damaging effect on team culture and focus. When contract negotiations become public and contentious, they can pull players' attention away from football, which is critical in the lead up to a long, grueling season. The impact of this approach was evident last year. The 49ers had to manage some tense contract sagas with Brandon AIYUK, Trent Williams, and Christian McCaffrey. Coming off a heartbreaking Super Bowl loss, the team was already dealing with mental and physical fatigue. The distractions of protracted contract talks at the very start of training camp made it harder for the team to fully reset and prepare. The result was a season marked by inconsistency, a roller coaster of highs and lows that reflected a squad unable to find its footing early on. Key players missed significant portions of training camp and preseason games due to holdouts or injury concerns, leaving the offense out of rhythm. Christian McCaffrey's battle with bilateral Achilles tendonitis, combined with Brandon AIYUK's less than ideal conditioning and Trent Williams' contract disputes, only deepened the challenges the team faced heading into the regular season. Learning from those struggles, the 49ers appeared determined to change course this offseason. They started the process earlier, securing key contract extensions before the training camp rush. This began with the deal for Diomedor Lenoir during the previous season, a savvy move that came before the quarterback market exploded, allowing the team to lock down a promising cornerback at a bargain rate. Lenoir's contract became a huge win for the organization, as if he had hit free agency, he would likely have drawn far higher offers, potentially pricing San Francisco out of contention. Building on that momentum, the team quickly locked in Brock Purdy, George Kittle, and Fred Warner in the offseason, signaling their commitment to stabilizing the roster and avoiding any repeat of last year's disruptions. Now with Jauan Jennings adding his voice to the contract conversation, the 49ers face a new challenge, but also a major opportunity. From a football perspective, Jennings has become a critical piece of the offense. If the team can get a new deal done with him, now it would likely save significant money down the road. Jennings had a career year in 2024, posting nearly 1,000 receiving yards and establishing himself as the top wide receiver option for Brock Purdy. If he repeats or improves on that production in 2025, he will command a much higher price on the open market, potentially $15 million or more annually. Locking him up before that surge in value is a savvy financial move that capitalizes on the current market conditions and the team's substantial cap space, which stands at an impressive $45.5 million. Beyond the numbers, Jennings represents one of the best player development success stories in the organization. A 7th-round draft pick who didn't make the final roster as a rookie and spent his first year on the practice squad, Jennings has steadily climbed the ranks through hard work and perseverance. Each season, his impact has grown. From 2021 to 2023, he made steady improvements culminating in the breakout campaign of 2024. He has earned the respect of the front office coaching staff and teammates alike, not only for his on-field production, but also for his leadership qualities, physical style of play, and team-first attitude. Jennings is a willing run blocker, a contested catch specialist, and a player who thrives in clutch moments, often coming through on critical 3rd and 4th downs. His rapport with Brock Purdy has grown into a reliable partnership that the offense depends on. With Brandon AIYUK sidelined due to a knee injury and an uncertain timeline for his return, Jennings currently stands as the team's best receiving threat. The receiver room is thin with limited proven depth behind him, especially given that Ricky Pierce suffered a hamstring injury early in the offseason, sidelining him for an extended period. This leaves the 49ers in a delicate spot at the wide receiver position, making it even more important to keep Jennings in the fold. From a salary cap perspective, the team is in a strong position to offer Jennings a new contract that reflects his importance without breaking the bank. This is a chance to avoid the pitfalls of past seasons when contract talks dragged on and ultimately drove up prices. Timing is crucial in football. The ability to get reps in training camp, build chemistry, and refine the offense hinges on having all your key players on the field and fully committed. The 49ers know this better than most after last year's up and down offensive performance revealed how costly it can be to start the season playing catch-up. Negotiating Jennings' deal now would allow the team to focus on football when training camp begins working toward mastering offensive nuances and preparing to hit the ground running in week 1. The risk of a holdout or lingering contract issues would disrupt that process and could set the team back right out of the gate. Looking closely at Jennings' statistical progression, it's clear that last year was his breakout. While his production in previous seasons was modest, 2024 saw him targeted over 100 times, hauling in 77 catches for 975 yards and 6 touchdowns. This sharp improvement gives the 49ers leverage in negotiations. While Jennings deserves a raise for his performance, the contract needs to reflect that last year was his first major season of impact. Prior to 2024, his numbers were far lower, with yardage totals fluctuating around the 200 to 400 yard range and touchdown numbers in the low single digits. Targets and receptions similarly spiked dramatically only last season, showing a player who is still on an upward trajectory rather than one with a long history of elite production. If Jennings were to test free agency after 2025 and repeat or improve on last year's numbers, the 49ers might not be able to afford him without overpaying. But by reaching an agreement now, while his value is still developing, the team can secure a top wide receiver for what should be a reasonable salary, likely between $11 and $15 million per year. This range is well below the contracts currently commanded by some of the NFL's elite receivers, including players like Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle, who earn more than $25 million annually. Compared to those figures, a deal with Jennings represents a solid investment and a chance to build a more consistent and potent passing attack. The timing also coincides with the team's ongoing efforts to surround Brock Purdy with reliable weapons. With George Kittle locked up and Jawan Jennings potentially secured, the 49ers are positioning themselves to enter the season with a core of playmakers capable of driving sustained success. Even with some uncertainty around other wide receivers and injuries, the team has other pieces in place. DeMarcus Robinson signed a 2-year deal, Jacob Cowing is entering the second year of his rookie contract, and Jordan Watkins is starting his rookie deal. These additions, combined with Jennings' presence, give the 49ers a promising wide receiver room heading into the new campaign. In short, paying Jennings now makes strategic sense for the 49ers on multiple fronts. It avoids the distractions and disruptions that have hampered previous seasons, leverages the team's financial strength, and rewards a player who has developed into a key contributor and leader. It's a chance to keep the offense focused, healthy, and ready to compete right from the opening whistle. The organization clearly recognizes this, having learned valuable lessons from past contract holdouts and negotiations that stretched into the regular season. By acting decisively, the 49ers can avoid the pitfalls of the past and build a stronger, more cohesive team. As the situation unfolds, the message from Jennings is clear: pay me or trade me. However, trading him would come with a steep cost. Losing Jennings would likely push the team's wide receiver group from a middle-tier unit to one of the weaker groups in the league. That kind of drop-off could hamper the offense's effectiveness and put additional pressure on other parts of the roster. For now, it seems more likely that the 49ers will aim to keep Jennings in the fold and work toward a new contract that benefits both sides. This negotiation will be one of the defining storylines as the team gears up for training camp and the 2025 season. Building on the mounting tension surrounding Jawan Jennings' contract, demands the San Francisco 49ers front office is facing a pivotal moment in how it handles its roster and salary cap management. With training camp rapidly approaching, the pressure to resolve this situation intensifies. The organization's reputation for strategic patience is now being tested by Jennings' firm stance and the delicate balance of team chemistry. The conversations inside the 49ers facilities are expected to be intense, with both sides aware that a misstep could have ripple effects throughout the season. Jennings' position is understandable from a player's perspective. He has worked diligently to carve out a role that transitioned from fringe practice squad member to leading wide receiver in just a few seasons. His ability to create separation, make contested catches, and contribute in the return game has added multiple dimensions to the 49ers offense. Being underpaid relative to his contributions can be demotivating and could potentially limit his career earnings during his prime years. Given the transient nature of NFL careers, especially for wide receivers, maximizing contract value early is a rational approach. Jennings' camp has reportedly communicated a clear message to the front office. A competitive offer reflecting his recent production and role within the team is non-negotiable, and without such an offer, they will explore trade possibilities. From the 49ers' perspective, accommodating Jennings' demands is complicated but not impossible. The team has built significant cap space through careful roster construction, offloading contracts, and restructuring deals with veterans. This financial flexibility was partly designed to absorb unexpected demands like Jennings. However, the front office must also consider long-term cap implications, as overcommitting to one player can restrict future maneuverability, particularly with several other key players approaching contract years. The balance between rewarding current performance and maintaining sustainable financial health is delicate, and San Francisco's executives are known for their methodical, data-driven approach to these decisions. One of the underlying strategic factors influencing the 49ers' negotiations with Jennings is the wider market for wide receivers in the NFL. The past few years have seen escalating contracts for top-tier wideouts, driven by an increased emphasis on passing offenses across the league. However, this inflation has also led to a stratification of receiver salaries, with elite players commanding upwards of $25 million annually, while solid but less proven contributors settle for significantly less. Jennings, as a player on the rise, is seeking a contract that places him in the upper middle tier of this spectrum. A challenging negotiation, given that he's not yet an elite proven veteran, but also no longer a developmental prospect. The 49ers must weigh the risk of overpaying now against the likelihood that Jennings' value will increase if he replicates or improves on last year's numbers. Another layer to this negotiation involves the potential impact on team dynamics. Wide receivers are often highly competitive individuals, and public contract disputes can lead to locker room unrest if not managed carefully. The 49ers coaching staff, led by Kyle Shanahan, prioritizes a collaborative team-first culture, and any contract drama threatens to undermine this ethos. Maintaining open lines of communication and demonstrating a willingness to reach a fair agreement will be critical to keeping the locker room unified. Conversely, if negotiations become protracted or contentious, it risks creating distractions that could derail the team's preparation and cohesion heading into the season. Adding complexity to the situation is the injury status of Brandon AIYUK, who remains sidelined with a knee injury and has yet to establish a clear return timetable. AIYUK's absence places more responsibility on Jennings to carry the receiving core, increasing his leverage in contract talks. Without AIYUK, the 49ers passing game relies heavily on Jennings, George Kittle, and Brock Purdy's chemistry. Any uncertainty around Jennings' availability or satisfaction with the team could leave the offense vulnerable, especially in critical moments where consistency and experience matter most. This heightened reliance elevates the urgency for the 49ers to solidify Jennings' role and compensation. Looking beyond the immediate negotiations, the 49ers are also preparing for the realities of roster turnover and depth challenges. The receiver group, while showing promise in younger players like Jacob Cowing and rookie Jordan Watkins, still lacks the depth and proven talent found on some rival teams. Injuries are an ever-present risk in the NFL, and losing Jennings or failing to secure his full commitment could force the team into a reactive posture, scrambling for replacements via trades or free agency. The depth at wide receiver could become a significant vulnerability if the front office fails to manage this situation prudently. This scenario highlights broader lessons learned by the 49ers in recent years regarding contract timing and player management. The franchise's recent history shows a clear pattern. Earlier contract resolutions tend to lead to smoother transitions into the season, better team chemistry, and more consistent on-field performance. Conversely, late or contentious negotiations tend to sap focus, breed uncertainty, and sometimes lead to costly roster decisions. The front office is acutely aware of this dynamic and is motivated to avoid repeating past mistakes. From a financial standpoint, Jennings' contract will likely include incentives and performance escalators that protect the team while rewarding the player for continued production. These structures are common in modern NFL contracts and provide flexibility for both parties. By including bonuses tied to receptions, yardage, and touchdowns, the 49ers can limit guaranteed money while encouraging Jennings to maintain a high level of play. Such deals help align player motivation with team success, fostering a mutually beneficial relationship. Additionally, the 49ers are likely exploring creative cap management strategies, including contract restructures and backloaded deals, to accommodate Jennings' new contract without compromising future spending power. The front office's proficiency in these financial maneuvers has been demonstrated in recent years, and they will undoubtedly leverage every tool at their disposal to navigate this contract extension smoothly. Beyond the contract details, the situation serves as a reminder of the evolving nature of player evaluation in the NFL. In today's league, players like Jennings, who develop steadily and contribute significantly, must be recognized promptly to maintain morale and competitive balance. The 49ers' willingness to engage early and seriously in these talks signals their recognition of Jennings' importance and their commitment to building a team capable of sustained success. The upcoming weeks will be critical as training camp approaches and negotiations either come to a resolution or extend into the season. How the 49ers handle Jennings' contract will set the tone for the entire roster and potentially influence how other players approach their own negotiations. Successful resolution could establish a positive precedent for future deals, emphasizing fairness, transparency, and mutual respect. Failure to do so could open the door to more holdouts or trade demands, complicating roster management and team culture. Ultimately, the 49ers' approach to Jauan Jennings' contract situation reflects the complex interplay between player aspirations, team strategy, financial constraints, and cultural priorities in modern NFL operations. Balancing these competing interests requires diplomacy, insight, and a clear vision for the team's future. The outcome of this negotiation will reveal much about the franchise's direction and its ability to maintain competitiveness in a league where margins for error are razor thin. As the countdown to training camp continues, all eyes will be on the 49ers to see how they navigate this defining moment and whether they can secure a deal that benefits both the player and the organization. But before we dive in, don't forget to subscribe to 49ers Zone and hit the like button on this video.